Braised red wine short ribs with garlic mashed potatoes. Here is as I'm making my mirepoix, which is equal parts onions, carrots, and celery. I'm gonna use large chunks. I'm gonna go ahead and also use all the celery leaves, which have a lot of flavor in them. So it's gonna look like I've been working on this all day, but really a couple simple steps and I'm done. I've got my carrots, add in my garlic, liberally just chop them in half. Don't worry about the skin, because it's all gonna be strained in the end. Pop that in. For this recipe, I'm gonna be using fresh rosemary and thyme. I mean, if you live in Antarctica and you can't find fresh herbs, go ahead and use the dried stuff, but I really suggest that you use fresh. A little bit of star anise, peppercorns, and these beautiful cinnamon sticks. The cinnamon is just gonna give it a little bit of extra flavor, and it's also gonna accentuate all the flavors. Get my pot started. I like to use canola oil because unlike olive oil or butter, it doesn't burn. So you can bring it to a really high temperature and never really worry about it. What I need to do is take off a little bit of the fat cap that's on the outside here, but I don't wanna get rid of all the fat because the fat also adds nice texture and really good flavor. Cut them along the bone, just like that. Very important, kosher salt. Easier to grab, it's a bit of a bigger grain. Always, always, always fresh cracked pepper. A little bit of flour. This is gonna help the browning process, and it's also, in the end, gonna thicken our sauce just a little bit. The important thing is right at this point is when we put it in the pan, we really wanna hear that sound. So I'll give it a try. Perfect. You can hear the sizzle when I drop it in there. Make sure there's not too much flour. You do wanna sear the meat. Just let it go, kind of even just forget about it. I always like to wear gloves when working with beets. They seem to stain your hands and kind of get a little bit everywhere. They're gonna add a real nice, earthy, rich flavor and a tint of red to give my red wine sauce a really, really nice color. Keep on peeling beets. So I'm just gonna cut it very liberally because the smaller these are cut, the more flavor and the more color they'll give off. Now, you can tell by the color that these ribs are ready. Nice and dark, nice caramelization. All the flavors are trapped inside. Just gonna take these out. And as you can see, the bottom of the pan, all the flavors and all those little crunchy bits are stuck in the bottom. Add my vegetables right in there because all the flavors at the bottom. And it's also easier. We're gonna use one pot, less dishes. Smells so good. Put my ribs back in. Braising is like a stew. Basically cooking in the liquid over a long period of time, so all the flavors are in there and concentrated. Red wine. You can hear the sound. When you hear that sizzle, that means the pan is really, really hot. All the sugars that were there and all the caramelized little bits that were on the bottom of the pan are just gonna lift off naturally. So I'm gonna add another bottle because you can never have enough. This ain't a wine and cheese, so just go with any regular table wine or any wine that you have lying around will do fine. Just short a bit. I'm just gonna add a little bit of water. Don't worry about the flavoring. If you add a little bit of water, in the end, we're gonna be reducing our sauce. So the flavors are gonna be there anyways. We just wanna make sure that this is nice and covered so it cooks off evenly. Last but not least, a little bit of cocoa powder. And about a handful of brown sugar to take away the bitterness of the wine. Make sure it's nice and sweet. It's nice and covered in liquid. We're gonna bring it to a boil, put some tin foil on it, and put it in the oven. We're gonna put this in a preheated 350-degree oven for about 3 hours or until it's fork tender. 3 hours now. Well, this looks perfect and ready. It's falling off the bone, as you can see. Just gonna take out all the meat. And now, it's time to strain my sauce. It's done. Been in there for about 3 hours now. Well, this looks perfect and ready. It's falling off the bone, as you can see. Just gonna take out all the meat. And now, it's time to strain my sauce. See the nice, rich colors that we've got from the beets? It's up to a boil. We're gonna let that simmer for about another 10 minutes so that all the extra water evaporates and all the flavors are in there and concentrated. It's nice and reduced. It's got a nice, silky texture. Just a nub of butter. I like to add butter to everything. It just gives it that extra richness, that extra sheen, kind of brings the sauce all together. Looks so good. The sauce is even coating my spoon really nice. This is a great sign that your sauce is ready and that it's just perfect to coat your short ribs. My favorite part, I'm gonna plate my short ribs. Nice deep dish. Sauce is warming up. Short ribs are hot. Here we go. My mashed potatoes on there. My short rib. Sauce. It smells amazing. Green beans, still nice and crispy. Last but not least, olive oil, poached tomato. Finish off with a little coarse salt. There you go. Braised red wine short ribs, garlic roasted mash, and olive oil poached cherry tomatoes.